Shalom Aleichem Rabbi side. This is the week of Ki Savo, and next week will be the Parsha of Nitzavim Vayelech. Nitzavim always means that you are standing before God. It's always read before Rosh Hashanah. This week, a week before, we're in Parshas Ki Savo, when you come to the land. Ki Savo, that's the Parsha of Bikurim. And then, of course, in the Parsha, there's some great things. The Parsha of Bikurim, and the first fruits, which is 7 species, 2 grains and 5 fruits. And then at the end of the Sedra, we have about the 12 boulders they have to take out of the Yarden, and then the 11 curses, Erurim curses, and then the Tochacha, the great scolding of Moshe Rabbeinu. If you don't follow the Torah, you're going to have these terrible klalas come upon you. So let's discuss a little bit about each one of these 3 subjects. The Bikurim, the first fruits, and Bechar is also a Bikurim, also Bechar, the firstborn, is also a first fruit of the family. Pri Bitnecha, the first of the womb. And then we go into a lot of subjects. Then we get to the big boulders you have to take out of the Yarden and set them up in the Yarden, the one on the other side of the Yarden, one you take to Har Grizim and Har Eval, where the mountains were, half of the Shvatim stood on top of one mountain, and they said a bracha, that's Har Grizim. You can remember that. Grizim sounds like grass. There were trees, grass, water, springs, animals, and the mountain right next to it was Har Eval. It sounds like evil. There was just a rock, and both of them were in Eretz Yisrael, covered by the same sun, the same wind, the same rain, the same sunlight, the same air. And one was a rocky mountain with nothing on it, and one was fruitful. And they said the brachos towards the fruitful mountain, and the klolos toward the other mountain. And then we have the tochacha, the curses, mentioned twice in the Torah. One in B'chul Kosai, 98 curses, and one over here, 45. I want to tell you something that will be shocking to you. Now it's the middle of September, right? And next week there will be this vote in the UN. Maybe not in the Security Council, but in this General Assembly. The Muslim world wants to make a Palestinian state. And they just pushed it off the last few days to the 23rd, not the 21st, not the 20th, 23rd of September. I want to tell you something that's going to be very shocking. Next week, however the vote comes out, the world will be changed. 10 years ago, on 9/11, 2001, you know when that happened? Exactly 1 week before Rosh Hashanah, the first day of Slichos. That day was 9/11/01. The Hebrew date was Chav Gimel, 23rd, 7 days before the end of the month. Chav Gimel Elul Tovshin Samach Aleph. That last year, 10 years ago, when they had 9/11, they had this week's Parsha, Ki Savo. Next week we're going to have a different Parsha, Nitzavim Vayelech. But 10 years ago, this year is a leap year. It has 4 extra weeks and a few other little different. However, 10 years ago, in 9/11/01, they read this Parsha, Ki Savo. And it happened on 23 Elul Tovshin Samach Aleph. Now listen to this. 23 Elul Tovshin Samach Aleph. If you do the Gematria, 23 is Chav Gimel is 23. Added to Elul, 67. Added to the date Tovshin Samach Aleph. Tovshin is 701. If you add it together, you get 851. So hold on to your hat. The last 2 words of the Haftorah of this week's Parsha, and 10 years ago, which was the week of 9/11, the last 2 words talked about Mashiach. V'ito achisheno, that's in Haftorah of Ki Savo, this week's Parsha. This is not 1 week before Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. It's a week and a half, 2 weeks actually. But the Haftorah of Ki Savo ends with about Mashiach. V'ito, I will send him at its right time. And if you do tshuva, b'achisheno, chish, I'll make it come quicker. You know what the gematria of V'ito achisheno is about Mashiach? Exactly the date of 9/11. 8, 851. And that's the gematria of Chaf, Gimel, Elul, Tav, Shin, Samach, Aleph. Tav, Shin, Samach, Aleph. Now it's Ayin Aleph. It's 10 years ago. It's interesting. That day, a Tuesday morning, remember it? Changed the world forever. The entire world is under the control of Yishmael. The entire world, every country, is afraid of them. Because you see, they're not afraid to die. And most people want to live. They're Pera Adam, the Malach told Hagar. Pera Adam, uncivilized man. So, they have no fear of this, of dying. Means nothing. Be'ito achisheno, in its time I will send it quickly. And a terrible thing happened that day. And the Haftorah ends with 2 words that equal to 851. And the Tuesday before that Shabbos was Chav Gimel Elul Tav Shin Samach Aleph, which is also 851. Just want you to know that this week's Haftorah, when you read it, to be aware of that. Now, 10 years later, they have this vote coming up next week. They change it from the 20th to 23rd, which is again 7 days before Rosh Hashanah. They have this all in mind. Something will happen next week, either very good or very bad, but the world will change again. We hope they will be, Hashem will do to them what they deserve. A catastrophe that will shock them. Chas v'sholom the other way around. Because Hashem is Shomer Yisrael. And we hope it, we trust that. And we hope it comes out for good of Klal Yisrael and of mankind. Now, before we go into the Parshas Ki Savo, I want to make a little announcement. It has nothing to do with Torah, but it's a Gemil's Chesed for people. If you're open to hear about creating a parnasa for yourself that could help you, and if there is something that could potentially be very beneficial to you, would you listen? A part-time opportunity to make a lot of money, please call me. I have already put many people on this. It's mamish a chesed. We're giving an opportunity. We, part of a billion-dollar corporation that is exploding in New York, and New Jersey just opened, and Pennsylvania, and Illinois, and Texas. And it's the cleanest, kosherest business in the world. And people's success in the last 15 months have proved it. It's #1 company in the entire United States. It's the fastest growing company of all the 500. Fastest growing company. It's #1. Call me about it. If you want to know more about it, my cell phone is 845-826-4789. Now let us go into the parsha. Bikurim. You will get Eretz Yisrael b'zchus of the Bikurim. Now, how could you get Eretz Yisrael b'zchus of the Bikurim? You have to be there first to bring the Bikurim to get Eretz Yisrael. So my father explains in a Mayom, you get Eretz Yisrael means you're oled to Yerushalayim. You come up to Yerushalayim to bring the Bikurim there, because you give them to the Kohen, and because you give your first fruits, 2 grains and 5 fruits, to the Kohen, you thank God that you have a country. If you've been there for generations, you say, I just came to this country. Every day should be considered to you like a new day. I just came here. Eloris to the land. That means Harabayas, the base of English. And you thank God with the first fruits. Because remember, you are the first fruits of God. You are B'ni B'chori Yisrael. So, that's a little synopsis of the first subject. Let's talk about those 12 boulders they have to pull out of the Yarden. And Moshe told them this. When you cross over the Yarden, Yeshua will take you over. Take 12 boulders, big boulders, out of the Yarden and set them up in the middle of the Yarden. And nobody will see them. Water will rush over them. But Mashiach comes, we'll see those 12 boulders. We'll know exactly where they crossed over. Down on the other side of the Yarden, in a town called Gilgal, they will set up another 12 stones. And you will smooth big stones, and you will cover them over with sid, spelled shin, sin, yudalid. That's lime, white, I don't know, whitewash, or probably more than that, some thick white thing, and you write on the stones the Kol HaTorah Kula, 12 stones. The whole Torah 12 times. The Torah has 304,000 letters. And you have to write that 12 times. And it says you have to write it in 70 languages. 70 times 304,000. 21 million letters. Is that really on each stone? What does that mean? So Rashi says you have to write in Shibim Lashon. Targum Yonason says no, one language. Lashon HaKodesh. Which is so clear, it's understood by all the 70 languages of the world. And you have to take that, and then after you set them up in Gilgal, you have to set them up again in Har Avel, in front of Har Avel, and leave them there. So you have 4 sets of stones and 3 setups. Four setups and 3 sets of stones. Look at the Rashi. One is, according to one opinion, on the east side of the Yarden, Moshe set up 12. Then in the Yarden, 12. Then they took another group from the Yarden, put it on the left side of the Yarden, the west bank. And that's 12. And then they took those after the whitewash and covered either they write on the white, or they cover it over after it's written. And then they took that to Har Avel. And now we have a problem. You're not allowed to make a matzeva. It's usur. How do you do that? So sasachol matzeva, you can't make a matzeva. Yeah, so the Torah Gemara says the Avos made a matzeva. Avram made a big bowl and poured wine and oil on it. And Yitzchak and Yaakov. And then it was forbidden to make any more matzevas. The only place where we still make matzevos is in the Beis HaKvaros, in the cemetery. But it's also for a Jew to build a matzeva, even though it's permissible for Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. But now it's forbidden for a Jew to make a matzeva except in the cemetery, a smooth stone. And now we make a mizbeach out of little stones. The reason why Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov took a boulder from the ground and set it up to let the world know that we come from the ground and we're dedicating the ground up to Hashem, elevate ourselves to Hashem. After the Avos period ended, the world had reached another higher madrega. Besides raising yourself, you come from the ground up to Hashem, elevating Hashem, and telling the world there's an invisible force called Yud-Kei Vav-Kei there, and we're raising ourselves up to Him. After that period of Avos was over, we reached a higher madrega. We have to now bring the Shekhinah down to us. Eker Shekhinah betachtonim. The Eker Shekhinah is down here. Up there, no one has Yetzer Hara, the Malachim Hashem. Down here, we have Yetzer Hara. We have to overcome it. The Eker Shekhinah is down here. When you elevate yourself, you bring the Shekhinah down. Now we have to make a mizbeach out of little stones, middle stones, and then you make a mizbeach and you put the carbon on top of it. The first job was matzevos was to elevate, to show the man wants to raise himself to Hashem. The second madrega, when the world advanced, was to bring the Shekhinah down to us. Your camp should be holy because God is walking in your camps. The Iker Shekhinah is not in heaven; it's down here. We have to mekadesh the Gashmias. The first, when the world was primitive, Adam had to show that we have to elevate ourselves to God. And the second one is the Mizbech. So the only place left in the Torah where you have to make a matzeva is for a dead person, for a mace, but you can't make it a matzeva nowadays. You want to build something, Mashiach come, build a Mizbech out of little stones up. So they took the 12 stones and they wrote on it. It says, the Torah, Be'er Heitev, very clearly. Be'er Heitev. Now, Be'er Heitev. Heitev is Gematria 26. Every word of the Torah is the name of God. God is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei 26. Heitev is 26. And Heitev is also 70. How could 26 be 70? Because there's a mystical way to look at Hey Yud Tes Beis. Straight Hey Yud Tes Beis is 26. Hey Yud is 15 and 9 is 24 and 2 is 26. Hashem, every word in the Torah is another expression of God's name. Heitev is 26, and God is eternal. 2 and 6 is 8. But there's another way to look at Heitev. You know the wrestlers, when they have this story, this song of Nachman Me'uman, Nachman. That is old concept in the Torah. Os Mosif, an additional letter. Here you have Hey, which is 5. Add it to Hey Yud, which is 15. You got 20. Add that to Hey Yud Tes, which is 24, and 20 is 44. And add it to Hey Yud Tes Bey, 44 to 26. You got 70. So Hey Tev is, you have to learn the Torah 70 different ways. Ayin Panav La Torah. And every word of the Torah is another expression of God's name. So Hey Tev is 26. Which means also the simple reason, write it very clear in 70 languages that all the Goyim know about it. So Hey Tev, Hey, and Hey Yud, and Hey Yud Tes, and Hey Yud Tes Bey, and Os Mosif. That is 70. So 26 is 70. Now, Moshe says to the Moshe, Moshe, and the Kohanim, and the Levim, tell Bnei Yisrael Haskes, be silent. Like a rock is silent. Like an Evan Maskis. Keep your mouth quiet and listen. So, in order to learn, you have to listen first. Haskes, Ushma Yisrael, and then listen. Listen what people are saying, what Hashem is saying. Today you have become a nation. Today. Every day that when you listen to the Torah, you become a nation. The Moshe Rabbeinu say this after 40 years. So Chazal tell us, you do not understand your Rabbi, what he said, until you're 40 years old. Because at 40, your dam bachrus, the bubbling blood of your youth has settled down, and maybe you're not as smart as you think you are, and maybe you could learn something. At 40, you start to get insight. So at Ben Arboim Shana, you understand your Rebbe better, what he didn't say, and how he said this. Now you understand it. So after 40 years, Moshe was leaving them now. Now maybe you understand the deeper insights of the Torah. The first thing is be quiet and listen. Today, and that's why it's connected with the rock. Be silent like a rock and absorb before you open your mouth. Ayama said today you have become a nation. Now you'll listen to the voice of Hashem. And now it says the next chapter about this curses. Yitzav Moshe Esom Bayom Hu Lemor. He commanded them on that day, saying, Eile Yamdu, these shall stand, these tribes shall stand, Lavorech, to bless, Esom, the people, Al Har Grizim, on top of Har Grizim. And by the way, this section right here, these 8 or 10 Pesukim, have no Samach in it. You know that? You know why? Haskes has a samach, but the next piece, no, hold it. No, the section that before, take out these 12 boulders from Revi'i 27:1. Tzav Moshe Zikna Yisrael Om Lemor Shomar is called mitzvahs, keep all the mitzvahs of the Torah, and take out these 12 boulders from the Yarden, your rod from Don, Yarden River. And cover them over with Sid, written Sin Yudal. Why not with a Samach? That's how you write Sid, lines, with a Samach. In this whole section here, there's no Samach. To let you know that these 12 boulders you're going to set up in Har Abel, next to Har Grizim, and that's exactly 60 mil from the Yarden. You come through Yericho, you go up northwest, above near Shechem to the left, that's where it is. 60 mil, and we know a mil is 2,000 amas, and every amma is 2 feet, so it's 4,000 feet, and a mile is 5,280. So this is about 0.7 of a mile. So 60 mil is 45 miles from here to here. That's why it's no samach from Yericho to the Har Grizim, Har Abel. There's 60 mil, maybe 110 kilometers. 45 miles, about 90 kilometers. So there's no samach here. Even the sid is written with a sin instead of a samach, to let you know that it's 60 mil away. You're going right up to these 2 mountains. Now we get to this part over here. Yitzav Moshe Zom B'Yom Hu Lemor Eilu Yamdu Levorech Hazam. These tribes will stand to bless the nation. Al Har Grizim, on top of Har Grizim. But Avrachem, when you cross over the Yarden. Shimon and Levi, Yehuda of Yisachar. These are the 4 children of Leah. Shimon and Levi, Yehuda of Yisachar. Why did you leave out Reuven? We'll see in a minute. Shimon and Levi, Yehuda of Yisachar. and the two sons of Rachel, Yosef, and Yamin. You have 6. The Eila, the other 6, Eila Yamdu ala Klola, they'll stand by the curse. Bahar Abel, on Mount Abel. Who were they? Reuven, the first of Leah's children, the Bechor. And Gad, Gad and Asher came from Bilhah, he was the Bechor, Gad. And Zvulun, another child of Leah. And Dan ben Naphtali, Dan is the Bechor of Zilpah. So they have 6. Now, they 6 in the Rashi says, 6 of them stand on top of this mountain, 6 on top of that mountain. We have a tremendous problem. You ever been there? It's next to Shechem. On top of the mountain can't hold millions of people. Maybe 100 people, 50 people. It can't hold millions of people. So what does it mean? These will stand on top of this mountain, and these will stand on top of that mountain. Shisha Shavatim al Rosh Har Grizim, 6 Shvatim on top of Har Grizim, Shisha and 6 the Rosh Har Abel, top of Har Abel, V'hakohanim v'alevim v'oron lamato v'emsa, and the Kohanim and Levim to be below, in the middle between both of them. Hafchu Levim Pneim, the Levim turned their face toward Har Grizim and started with a bracha. They started with a bracha. Baruch ha'ish, blessed is the man, asher lo yaseh pesel, that did not make an image. U'temu maseicha, and the 3-dimensional image, a statue, image. And pesel means a 2-dimensional, a picture, or a maseicha, or a maseicha is a casted thing, and that's the bracha. So it says Baruch, and then they'll turn to the other mountain, and they said, Arur Ha'ish, cursed is the man who makes an image or something out of wood or metal or stone or rock. Now we have a bunch of questions here. If 6 of the Shvatim got on top of this mountain, and 6 on top of that mountain, and we know that the first 6 was Shimon and Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Yosef, and Yamin, please tell me, if Levi went up, as it says, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, and Yosef and Yamin, how could Rashi say that Levi was down below in the middle and was turned the face toward this mountain and made a rocham, turned the face toward that mountain, make a klala? I thought Levi was up. How could he be down? It says in Rashi, Kohanim v'alvim v'aram lamato. So how could they go up? First question. Next question. How could you have millions of people on top of each mountain? I was there. Do you know how many Jews there were? There were 3.5 million Jews and 2.5 million Erev Rav. That's 6 million people. 3 million on top of this mountain and 3 million on top of that mountain. Really? Look what Rabbi says about that. Rabbi says, no, it's not like Rashi. They all were on the bottom. Al Har, Rabbi Omer, Lamato Haya Omnim. They all were on the bottom. Hafchu, they all turned the Pneim Klape Har Grizim, towards Har Grizim, and they opened with the positive form of this. Blessed is the man that does not make an egel. Blessed is the man that doesn't do this and doesn't do that. And then they turned toward the other way. They said, cursed is the man that does make an egel. Then they talked to the second one, the second curse. Blessed is the man that does not denigrate his parents. And cursed is the man that does denigrate his parents. And they went like that. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, all the way up to 11. So how could Rabbi say, no, they stood on the bottom, and they turned their face towards Har Grizim, they started with a Bruchim, then they turned their face toward Har Abel, and they made a Klola. Or my Al, so what does it mean? Al, says Rabbi? The Samuch, towards it, that's all. So how does Rashi say something against a Mishnah? Rashi said he went up on top of the mountain. And Rabbi says, no. They just looked toward the mountain. Nobody went on top. Really? Well, Rabbi said, I have 13 questions on these 11 curses. This is 2 of the questions. So it means like this. Eile Yamdu, these should go up. Eile, these. Who are them? Eile is Gematria 36. Divided by 12 tribes. 3 of every tribe. A bezdin of 3. That's it. Or maybe 1 shofet. Or maybe a minyan. The Rebbe said everyone's on the bottom. So Rashi said everyone was on top. That doesn't mean everyone was on top. the 6 tribes went on top means they're representatives of the 6 tribes, either 3 of them or 10 of them, maybe 1 shofet only, 6 people on this tribe, on this mountain, and 6 on that mountain. Maybe 18, 6 times 3 is 18, maybe 60, and 60. That's what it means. So, if you say it was really impossible to say the real, you have 6 million people, 3 million on this and 3 million on that. And let's say it's not 6 million because let's say the Gerim, the Erev Rav is not included. The 2.5 million Erev Rav, because the Targum Onkelos Yonason says Erev Rav, Oloi Mohem, the Olive Rav, Erev Rav went up with them. It says right there, 2.4 million. So 3.5 million and 2.4 is about 5.5, 6 million people. So let's eliminate the Geir because they don't get Eretz Yisrael as an inheritance anyhow. The big Tzaddikim, but they don't get Eretz Yisrael as the Geir. It's not their land. So let's say it was only 3.5 million people. You mean 1.7 million on top of that mountain, 1.7 on top of this mountain? You ever been there? You couldn't fit 50 people on top there, 100 maybe. So let's say it's only 600,000 males between 20 and 60. You mean 300,000 over there and 300,000 over there? It's a little difficult, isn't it? So maybe it's like Rabbi said, everyone stayed down and just a few, and a shliach went on top, and then that's all. Now, what does it mean? The Torah says, Arur, but the Gemara says, no, they started with the positive of the Arur. Blessed is the man that does not make an image. Then they look to the other mountain and says, Arur. So why is the Torah write Arur if they started with Baruch? That's another one of these 13 questions. Because the Torah, the Chumash, the Tanakh, is Midas Hadin. And the Gemara and the Medrash is Midas Rachamim. That's why the Gemara always calls Hashem in the Gemara Rachmana Omar, the merciful one says. Because, for instance, in the Torah it says, Machalaleh Mos Yumas, he who desecrates the Shabbos has to be executed. They'll almost never executed anybody in any Bezdin. Because the Gemara says over there, the Bezdin would ask a person, Ruvain and Shimon, you saw Levi kill Yehuda? Yeah? Tell me, where was it? When was it? How was it? What pants was he wearing? Were they pressed? It was under an apple tree? How big were the apples? So Rabbi Kiva says if I was on a Bezdin of nefashos, a felony, I wouldn't accuse anybody of a crime at all. I would think maybe the Eidim were exaggerating, maybe they meant well, but they misquoted, they thought they saw this, maybe. How do you trust anybody to take someone's life? If Hashem wants to get rid of you, he can do it in a minute. He doesn't need a Bezdin. I wouldn't accuse anybody. I would accuse them. I wouldn't paskin them to Misa, though. Very, 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 very seldom did any Bezdin ever execute anybody. A Bezdin that kills one person in 7 years, or 70 years, is called a Bezdin of Mechablanim, terrorist Bezdin. The almost never killed anybody. Moshe Rabbeinu killed one man, the Mr. Slavcha, who was collecting wood on Shabbos, okay, and the Megadev, the blasphemer, he killed him very good, but almost never did it happen, ever. A Bezdin that killed one person in 70 or 7 years is called a terrorist Bezdin. The Habdu Elif Abdullah is one of the great presidents of the United States said, Teddy Roosevelt said, carry a big stick and talk softly. Which means if the halacha is very severe, most people will be scared, will be afraid to do anything wrong. So, let's look at some of these curses. There are 11, why not 12? Every one of the curses goes about one of the Shvatim who have something they should fix. Something they should fix. We only know 3 of the 12. But 11 is only mentioned here, you know why? Every one of the Shvatim have a certain weakness they have to fix. But one of them is not mentioned here at all. We know who that is. We don't know which trait. One of these, each 11 curses, we don't know which one did which crime, except 3. And we don't even include 12 curses. Because Yaakov never blessed Shimon when he died, so Moshe never cursed him here in this Sedra. He's eliminated. Shimon and Levi did a terrible thing by wiping out Shem. They deserved to be killed. But the trick there with the bris milah and all that, Yaakov didn't like that. They raped their sister, they deserve misa, and all of them are accessories to the crime, the all chai misa. But with the trick, with the bris, and the this and that, Yaakov didn't like that trick. The chai misa, go kill him. So, Shimon Levi Achim, so when he died in the end of the Bereshis Vayichi, he didn't give them a bracha. Shimon Levi took it to his heart and did tshuva, and he became a helper to the Kohanim centuries later in the Beis Hamikdash. Shimon didn't take it to heart, so centuries later, and the head of the tribe was Shimon. His name was Zimri, or Shlomi ben Sri Shadoi. He had an open, covert relationship with Kozbi Basur, with the Benos Moab and Zelovcha and Moshe Rabbeinu, in front of Moshe Rabbeinu. So Pinchas had to assassinate him. So it says in the Gemara, from Shimon never, ever came a shofar to die in a Gadol of Israel, because they didn't change that trait. But Levi did. Levi eventually did tshuva, became an assistant to the Kohanim in the Beis Hamikdash. But Shimon didn't. Therefore, Moshe didn't want to curse him here, because Yaakov never blessed them there. So they're down from 11. And out of the 11, we know 3. 3 people that did certain things, and we'll first read the 11, then we'll tell you what the 3 crimes were. Oruh Ish, cursed is a man, Asher Yaseh Pesel, who makes a 2-dimensional figure to worship. Umasecho, a 3rd-dimensional, out of wood, stone, rock, metal, an idol. Ko'otov As Hashem, the abomination of God, to do that. Masei de Chodesh, through a craftsman. But some basei, so he puts it, hides it somewhere in a private room. And therefore the people answered V'amru, and they said Amen. Meaning they used to have a deep desire for avodah zarah, like we have a deep desire for arayos. Now no one's interested in worshiping in idols. It's ridiculous. One day when Mashiach comes, we're going to look at arayos the same ridiculous way. It'll be a minor thing. It won't be a big drive. Just like avodah zarah today. Who worships an idol? So V'amru, they all said Amen. He puts it in private. No one should see it. That's why it's not a klala. Arur means there's no Adam, there's no witnesses, you can't be executed by Bezdin. But if you do this, you're cursed. You're alone. You're cut off from God. Aleph, Reish, Vav, Reish is related to Ayin, Reish, Yud, Ariri, childless, cut off, divorced, separated from Hashem. You are on your own. You're abandoned by God. Arur, unless you do tshuva. The second one is Arur, cursed, Makla of Imo. He degrades his father and mother, living even after they're dead. But Omar Kalom Main, the whole nation says Amen. How come the first one of the 11 it says Va'amru? They said, and here it says Va'amar, he said. All these here that have the word Omar except the first. Omar means they all said, every single person, like Ish Echad, Belev Echad, all in unison, 100% the same mental acceptance. The first one is Amru, they all said as a group. And maybe 99% said it, maybe one person didn't say it. We'll see why in a minute. Number 3. Arur Masik Vul Re'echa. He cursed is the man that moves his neighbor's border. When he's sleeping at night, he pushes the border over a few feet, and he cheats from the other man's land. He takes it away from him, and his land here on this side is longer, or wider, a foot or 2 or 3. All the way down, 500 feet. Times 2 feet is 1,000 feet each he stole. It also means other things. Don't change Jewish minhagim. Don't change gevul, the boundaries of your friend. When he has a certain minhag to do something, don't change that. It has many meanings, these 11 curses. The whole people said Amen. Who misleads a blind man or seduces somebody to get him off the derech. Any blind man who's blind in a certain knowledge, you mislead him. Mefate eishes ish, or you sweet talk anybody into something that's detrimental to them. You take money that you have a scam, into a scam. You take money and you want to defraud them. Cursed, you'll be cursed. Your life will be disaster. You took people, you misled people. Or cursed mishke, you just mislead a blind man, but there's Omer Amen. Orumate mishpat ger Yosef amarim. Cursed is a man that distorts mishpat, a judge who distorts justice. Ger, of a man who doesn't have a country. Yosef doesn't have any parents. Almana doesn't have a husband. Unfortunate, weak people. Curse is a man who sleeps with his father's wife. Doesn't have to be your mother, stepmother. Even he was ma'anis her, he raped her. You can't have anything related to her. Even then she agreed and she became his wife, and then the father died or divorced her. You can never marry her. He has exposed the canopy of his father, whoever he takes into the marriage. You can never have anything related to do with her. How come each one of these curses has a samach at the end, which means stop? A stuma, it's a new subject. How come these two things have no samach in between? The one where it says you distort justice, you don't do honest business, you have crooked business ethics, and the one with immorality, sleeping with your father's wife. Because according to Rav Shamshval Hirsch, if you're crooked in business, you're immoral in your private life. If you're immoral, you're a thief. It goes together. That's why there's no samach between these two, because being a ganef and a cheat and a liar and a dishonest and a deceiver in business, in justice, is just as bad as being immoral. If you're very, very makpid on kol isha and tznius, you have to be just as honest in business. If you're very, very honest in business and a little bit lax in the other stuff, it's not good. If you're very, very strict in tznius, but you're not good in other stuff, that's no good. They go together. Both are not tzaddikim, both are rishoyim. You have to be honest in business ethics and honest in morality. 100% both ways. Choshe mishpat got to be kept just like the Yoredeya. So let's go further. If you live with a behema, Jews didn't do these things. It means something else. You marry a woman who hates religious Jews. That's sleeping with a behema, it says. The people who hate Amratzim in the original translation of Amratzim is not just an ignorant Jew who didn't go to yeshiva. Amratzim was like Rabbi Kiva before he became a Baal Tshuva. They hated Talmid Chachamim. They hated one. Rabbi Kiva says, when I saw a Talmid Chacham, I wanted to jump on him and bite his neck. They hated Torah scholars. If you are an Am Ha'aretz, you're a man that doesn't believe in spirituality, only physical, if you like, and you marry such a woman, you're living with a behemoth. Or you could be such a bad person too. Or Shulchan Behema, or Kolamain, or Shulchan Mechaso, cursed if you sleep with your sister because she's bad, but she's not your real sister, it's only stepsister. Bas Aviva Basimo, your father's daughter or your mother's daughter, because you're around the house with her all the time, and you cursed if you do that privately. All these things are done in private, no one knows about them. That's why it says Arur. If it was openly, they'd execute you in Bezdin. Because there'd be Adam and Asra and Misa and Din Torah, but here it's all privately. That's why it's Arur, not Klola. Klola means everybody knows about it, and you're cursed in public because they executed you. But Arur means only you know about it. And if you do any one of these 11 things, you're a cursed man. Or Shulchan Mechoso, we said that. Or Shulchan Mechosanto, his mother-in-law. Or Makarei will say, so you hit your friend in private. That means you talk Lashon Hara about him and he's not here. You're going to be cursed. Or you take bribery, you're a judge, or you're some kind of businessman that took a payoff in order to switch something in somebody's favor, but it's not honest. Or you took bribery, either word bribery, a compliment, or money. Nefesh Dam, to kill somebody. Noki, who's innocent, Omar Go'amei. Then it says number 12. Arur Asher Yokim Dibra HaTorah Azos. He who does not keep this Torah. The Asos ought to do it. Osam, to do them, all the mitzvahs. Omar Go'amei. That's the end of the subject. Now, why does it say in the first one, V'omaru, and in the other one says V'omar? Let me tell you. Out of the 11 Shvatim we're hinting to, each one has one of these problems. We know only the 3 of the Chacham and Tel. We don't know the other 8. One is Ruvain. It's Merames. He says Shochev im Eishes Aviv. You sleep with your father's wife. He didn't do that. Chas v'sholom. All he did was when Rachel died, instead of moving in with Leah's tent, he took Bilhah, Rachel's handmaiden, and put his bed in her tent. Reuven, the daughter of the firstborn of Leah, took offense. Why is not my wife, my mother, the regular wife? Why is she secondary to Bilhah, a Shifcha? He was very hurt by that. For to stand up for the company of his mother, he moved the beds around. That's like the great people in the Torah. We use extreme language. He's like he slept with his father's wife, Chas v'sholom. They would have killed him, the brothers. If they wanted to kill Yosef for talking Lashon Hara, they would definitely want to kill Reuven if he did something like that. So Reuven is hinted to in Shocheb im Eishes Aviv, one of the 11. That's Reuven. He moved the beds of Bilhah out and put his mother's bed, about Leah bed in there. And when Yaakov knew about this, he was quiet till the end of his life. He said, Reuven, Pachas Kamayim, you're too fast like water, you're unstable like water, therefore you lost a triple header. I wanted to make you, Reuven, the firstborn, the Melech, the Kohen, and to get double portion. You lost all three. The Melech went to the fourth child, Yehuda. The Kahuna went to the third child, Levi. From Levi, Shevi Levi comes Kohanim. And the double portion went to the 11th child, Yosef, got double portion in Eretz Yisrael. So he did tshuva the rest of his life. That's hinted to by one of them, Shochiv Me'eshes Oviv. That's just a hint. The second one, Yosef. Maka Re'eu V'seisha, you hit your friend in private. He spoke Lashon Hara against the 10 brothers. He spent 10 years in jail. That's his tshuva. And then he spent 2 more years because he said to the Saramashkim, tell Pharaoh to get me out of here. And he relied on the Saramashkim, said 2 words, and that 2 words made him stay 2 more years. So, Maka Re'eu V'seisha, hitting your friend B'seiser in private, that's Lashon Hara. And they spoke Lashon Hara against the brothers. And Binyamin, he was the one, that tribe, Binyamin, from that tribe, Binyamin came a man called Michal. They made Pesel Michal a religion of Avodah Zarah. Therefore, the first one of the 11, or Isha Sheyasa Pesel, makes an image and does Avodah Zarah. All the others, it says Omar, every single word, person said it like one man, they agreed 100%. But the first one, Amru, they all said it as a group, not as one man, means 99% agreed to this, but not 1%. He didn't want to say that, Binyamin, because Binyamin knew by Ruach HaKodesh and Uvua that someone later, hundreds of years later, would be a Micha, Pesel Micha, the religion of Micha from Reuven. And they couldn't really say, cursed is that man forever. They couldn't say it. So, Amru, they all said it as a group, but not each one 100% unique like the next one. They not Davka, all, 99%. That refers to Binyamin, Pesel Micha, that would come out hundreds of years later. And that for, when it says, Oru Ha'isha Shiyasa Pesel, it refers to the tribe of Reuven. And Ba'amru, all they said it together, but not in the same heart. But Omar, he said it all, hundreds of thousands, millions of them. That means everyone was in the same mind and thought. But Amru, they all said it as a group, but not everybody, 99%. That's excluding Reuven. Reuven did tshuva the rest of his life. Yosef did tshuva. He was in jail 10 years for speaking against the 10 brothers. And Binyamin did tshuva for hundreds of years. You're not allowed, they made a law, you're not allowed to marry anyone from Binyamin. They had wars. 90,000 people got killed. 50,000 for them and 40,000 for them. It was a big war, civil war. Pesel Micha. But Shimon didn't do tshuva. Therefore, he's not cursed here, and he's not blessed by Yaakov. And therefore, he's not cursed. And why does it say, Eili yamdu levarech esam, these shall go up to bless the people? But the next sentence says, Ve'eila yamdu al haklala. Why not likalel, to curse? I have 13 questions. This is a few of the questions. Why you say Eili yamdu levarech? These 6 tribes will bless the people if they keep the Torah, and these will curse them if they don't keep the Torah. So why don't you use the same language? You should say Eili yamdu levarech esam, and Eili yamdu likalel esam. Why don't you say that? Answers like this. If you keep the Torah, you will be blessed by Hashem and by other Jews. But if you don't keep the Torah, al haklal, it comes automatically. Memele, you'll be cursed. Hashem gives you enough rope to hang yourself. It comes as a result of not keeping the Torah. The klala comes automatically upon you. Al ha-klala. Just stand by, watch it happen. All Torah talks about that. We can't get into that. All these 45 curses. It's not going on the way of the Torah. You will invite disaster. Doesn't say in Kriya Shema, "V'sartem," you will stray. "V'avaltem al-him acherim," you worship other gods. So the Gemara says, wait a minute, guy strays a little bit, doesn't make him an idol worshiper. You know, not so much. But on some of the things, so right away you're an atheist. You're an idol worshiper. No, not right away. But the next generation. V'sartem, you'd stray from the Torah derech. Your children or your grandchildren become goyim. Isn't it true with Reform religion? They went away from the Torah. They don't believe Torah is Min HaShamayim. That's what they said. They said the Bible is antique and the Talmud is primitive. And they gave up Milah, Shabbos, intermarriage, everything. Now their grandchildren are goyim. You don't know that? Look at the famous families of Mendelssohn. They converted or committed suicide. And Friedlander and Geiger. Look at what happened to their children. So it happens automatically. And now in closing, let me tell you something. One thing I have to tell you. Either one, they said the word Amen. Now let me tell you something that is unbelievable. When you come to a place on Shabbos and you make Kiddush, and they say, you want to make Kiddush, you want to be Yotze yourself, or you make your own Kiddush. Should I make you Yotze, or you want to make your own Kiddush? And sometimes you go to a big place, you make Kiddush for everybody, and 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 or 8 people make their own Kiddush. How come? How come not Yotze with you? You should know something. When you have a Seder or a Friday night, everyone makes his own Kiddush. That's wrong. You're not allowed to do that. It's much greater to hear the man say Kiddush and say Amen than to say your own Kiddush. Gadol ha'omer min ha'oseh. It's bigger that the man should say it, you say Amen, than you do it yourself. Why? Amen is 91. That represents 2 aspects, the positive and the negative. All the mitzvahs and all the losa says. Yud Kei Vav Kei is Rachamim, that represents all the mitzvahs. That's Agmacha 26. That's Midas Rachamim, that represents, if you do all the mitzvahs, reward, all the good things. That's 26. Adod, Noi, that is Midas Hadin, that's 65. 65 and 26 is 91. Amen, which means I agree to all the positives, now we'll do none of the negatives. So when you say Baruch Atah Hashem, Kaddish HaShabbos, you say Hashem's name 1 time. When he says Amen, he's saying God's name twice, Adod and Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's 91. 26 and 65 is 91. So Gadol HaOmer is much bigger, the man who says Amen, than the man who makes the Kiddush. Therefore, when you train a child on Friday night to make his own Kiddush, that's a toss. It's a mistake. Man Chinuch. Because the Shulchan Aruch paskins like this. Gadol ha'omer min ha'oseh. It's more important that the man who says Amen than the man who makes a bracha. So why would you want to make your own Kiddush? It's much bigger bracha to listen to the man and say Amen, not make your own Kiddush. You want to mechanech the kid how to make Kiddush, do that some other day, not let's say tonight or Friday night. You're not supposed to make your own Kiddush when one man is making it for you, because the halacha is, Gadol ha'omer. It's bigger the sayer of Amen than the man who made the Kiddush, because he's saying only Hashem's name one, Baruch Atah Hashem. And you're saying Amen, which includes Hashem and you, and Ado. 26 and 65, so it's much bigger to say Amen than to make your own Kiddush. People don't know that. They want to make their own Kiddush because they make it every week, and the wife is there. No, it's a mistake. Because the halacha is Gadol ha'omer min ha'oseh. Better to listen to someone else and say Amen. Because that's had both God's names in there. Yud Kei Vav Kei and Ado. And one more thing before I finish, I want to tell you. It says here, Aru curses a man that doesn't keep the whole Torah. Well, listen, I don't keep the whole Torah. I'm not a woman. They have her mitzvahs. I'm not a Kohen. I'm not a farmer. I mean, hello? What do you mean? I can't keep all the 613 mitzvahs. So Hirsch says a beautiful thing. Doesn't mean you keep all the mitzvahs. It's impossible. Aru curse, Asher lo yakim, it doesn't pick up. It's divrei haTorah hazos la'asos osam, to do them. It could have said, Aru ha'isha shel yakim is divrei haTorah hazos v'osa osam. It doesn't say you have to do them all. La asos, to do them if you have an opportunity. That's all. So, this is a general bracha or curse if you don't do the Torah if you have an opportunity. And, the people said Amen. Now from here you have a hint to pick up the Torah. If a man is given the mitzvah of Hagbah to pick up the Torah and you don't do it, you cursed. I'm not talking about an old man who can't pick it up. If a Noah person says, no, I don't like that, it's below my covet, I should get shlishi, I should get the maftir, I should get shishi, I should be called up, and he's insulted because he only got maftir, you don't have to say anything, he just pick up the Sefer Torah. The Gemara, the Shulchan Aruch Paskin is the biggest mitzvah of all the mitzvahs of the Kriyas Torah, because Yokim Kol Torah Zos. So there was once in the shul when I went to a big tzaddik Rav and a very wealthy balabas, they gave him Hagbah, he didn't want to do it. Doesn't pass. He's such a rich man. He wants that shlishi. You know what I mean? Make a bracha. Everyone should hear him. So the Rav said to the Gava, "You give it to me." And the Rav was an old person, so people had to help him pick up the Sefer Torah because that's the biggest mitzvah of all the mitzvahs. Because the halacha says if you do Hagbah, you get the biggest mitzvah because your Baruch Asher Yochim is different Torah Zos. So the most honorable mitzvah is Hagbah. And this man didn't understand it. So the Rav then made a speech about people who don't understand the value of Torah. They think they are greater than the mitzvahs. And there were minhag maybe to pick up the Sefer Torah. Maybe it's a mitzvah. So I want to leave you with that idea. Never think you're greater than the mitzvah of the Torah. I wish everybody kasiva v'chasima tova. And to Sfardim we say tizchu l'shanim rabot. And we see you again next week in Miyot Hashem.